Hello there guys, welcome to my crank book. This will be over on YouTube, and for those who do know me, hello. For those who don't know me, hello. For those who don't know what I talk about, then the majority of everything that I cover is to do with the social care system and the failure to support and enable people within the system. If anyone saw my live last night, I've been... Yes, darling.
Mummy, stuck.
What's stuck?
It's stuck in the fire airplane.
What's stuck? The L plate? What, you want that sticker off? If any of you saw my live last night, you'll see that I actually had a 17-year-old foster care child on my live last night, and I always look tired. I'm shattered. I am literally keep going, get up, keep going, get up, keep going. Very, very achy this morning. I'm only on a achiness of about 6 maybe today, so I'm not screaming in pain, but sat up pretty much for a long time last night, just constantly talking over every different option. It's like, even, you know, look, I can't condone certain things within people's lives, and I'll never normalise it and stuff like that, but I'm not here to judge anybody's situation. I'm just here to make sure that you know, those going through the system are being given the best part of, hello there comrades, but best chance that they should have, and they are very much in love, you know. Dad is 40, is 34. What do you want me to do, darling?
It's stuck in a peppermint.
It's stuck where?
It's stuck in the peppermint.
It's stuck where? I can't see what you're on about.
It's stuck in the peppermint.
It's stuck in the permit. What, you want this open? The fire hydrant bit. Sorry, I'm trying to suss out a doodah. What happened last night is I got a 17-year-old to sing. That's what happened last night. I got a very, very talented... Right, there you go. These bits open. I've got a very, very talented young lady, young girl, because she's still 17, to sing live last night and actually sort of talk about a bit of her experience. And she pretty much yesterday was told that she's going to be on CP, and the chance of them taking the baby is quite high, or certainly moving her to a mother and baby unit where she's ultimately going to fail. And even she was saying yesterday, she I see her blonde. You see my grey, you mean? That's my grey. You see my grey. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I mean, even the social worker, when Josie told the social worker that she was pregnant, her first reaction that the social worker said was, "Oh, you know, oh God, that's more paperwork." You know, the social worker wasn't interested in the emotions and understanding of this 17-year-old girl. And I have to remind people, she is still a girl. She is 17. She's still a girl. She is, as Britney Spears would say, you know, I am a girl, not yet a woman. Her partner is potentially a man. He is 34. Something that I would look at and go, but at the end of the day, he has a baby with this girl. The baby is here, and at the end of the day, whatever people think of it, there is a baby here and there is 2 parents, and she will be 18 soon to make her own decisions, but not before the baby's born. And blonde girl on the sofa, yeah, and she's an actual natural blonde. I thought it was dyed, but it's well natural blonde. But even her singing last night, right? It was on the back of my laptop that rattles. We had no sound. We had nothing in. It was just literally a really tired girl who I managed to put on the spot a bit, because I just think that social workers don't even know she sings. You know, social workers... Oh shit, I've got some... Oh, that's just reminded me. I've got an appointment tomorrow. Yes, I'm sandwich and picking up butter. At the end of the day, the social workers have never known this girl can sing. And what annoys me, it's the same as Dean, right? Dean was so talented, but because he was in foster care, the only options for a child in foster care, really, unless they're 100% self-committed and they go, fuck it, I am not being a statistics of social services, I'm not allowing these people to make me into a statistic. But, you know, I put up a video, Amber put up a video of a child that was trying to smash a board. And at the end of the day, he was crying, he was frustrated. But what helped him go to that next level was the support of the people around him. It was the cheering, it was the support. And this girl, she's got the potential, right, to really freaking make it as a singer. I mean, I could get her in a studio tomorrow and I could put a track down with this girl and I could literally go and get an album out and she could be financially free and support this child. But you know what? They don't even let her come. And there was like kick-offs about, because I invited them down to the fireside last night. And there was a bit of a kick-off because it's classed as being on the streets and it's, you know, not appropriate behaviour. And, you know, to be able to set a tent up down at the sea is considered that she's a homeless girl. Well, she's in a hostel. She is in a hostel. But I've spoken to Housing Options today with them. I've spoken to the Roberts Centre and I've spoken to all these facilities, because at the end of the day, until the baby's born, nobody is going to act on this. The only act they're going to do is going over to the court and holding her even further into the system. And what annoys me is parents fail their kids too as well. Parents have children with amazing talent. Someone stole my son's skateboard yesterday. I'm not fucking happy. Seriously? Yes? Somerstown? Yes? Yes, to the person who stole my son's 1-year-old son's skateboard last night. It is difficult for me to now replace that skateboard. I can't make sure that my son's got his skateboard under his foot today. Now, our children all have talents and passions and interests, and it is our job as parents to make sure that we nurture these talents and these gifts. It might be that they play the piano. It might be that they play the guitar. It may be that they sing. It might be that they play the drums. It might be that they're poets. It might be that they're creative writers. It might be that they're artistic and they paint or they do things like that. But social care are not looking for these things in children. They're looking for, are they out on the streets doing drugs? And they're not actually even really interested if they are. You know, it just means that they can make more money by sending them off to something and doing something else. You know, they're interested in, have they got a roof over their head tonight? Is there food available to them? Do they know where to access these resources? And that is pretty much here. Right. My boxing coach, who again got a kick in the other day. Do you know what I mean? Just because he didn't have a fag to give somebody, because this is one he doesn't smoke. Absolutely crazy. I'm really getting to know the community here in Portsmouth lately, because I've sort of, since Liam has made the decision to do what he's doing, and take Liam per example, right? Liam, I said on a video, prior to Social taking Elijah and Shiloh, Aaron and Faith, if you fucking take Elijah and Shiloh, you'll be going in your early grave, mate. But, like, you know, Liam was doing music and arts and all that sort of stuff at college, and Social took that away from him. Social never, ever, ever recognised that Liam was a child, yeah? Daniel was a child. Daniel was doing his GCSEs, the most important time of any child's life in the education system. And yes, be careful on what people you help. You know, it's not even about helping. I'm not actually helping anybody. I'm just trying to understand this system, and I'm listening to people's stories. And if I can maybe say something to them that they didn't know before, I'm not in a situation to help. And the reason that I'm not in a situation to help is because I don't have any clout. However, when I rang today and said that I was the director of Step Up Portsmouth for today, because I actually do own this Step Up Portsmouth page, which goes along with Step Up Britain, just as I step up every city and town, you know, it gave me a little bit more shindig, because as soon as I rang, I said, hi, hello there, Simon, it's Kelly from Step Up Portsmouth. Have a couple that seem to be falling through the cracks, and just wanted to see if I could push them into your system, and them not have the door closed on them and to be wrongly advised. Straight away, they've got an appointment. The man's been on the streets for goodness knows how long. like recently being told can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, can't do that. Whatever the age difference is between them, they are a couple. They are both super talented. Super, 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 super talented. Now, butt being handed. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, prime example, right? I just say with Liam's situation. Yeah, you know, Liam had all that taken away from him with social. I was exactly the same. I lost everything that I love. You know, when I went into foster care, they took all of that stuff from me. You know, I didn't go to any of my groups, my sports and stuff that I do. It wasn't encouraged. You know, yet the foster care the foster parents' children did, but I didn't. When they went on holiday, I went back to respite. Blah 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 blah. You know, and with Liam's come to mummy, so he hasn't lived with mummy for a while. So he's come to mummy, and I've spent some time with him saying, what do you want to do, blah, 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 blah. And he's decided that he still wants to get into all that stuff, but he needs the equipment, so he's become a hairdresser. Now, he said when he got here that this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to go bridge with Universal Credits initially, which he did for that 1 month, get into, so he could get into college, but obviously he's ended up having it paid for anyway. And then he wanted to get his own place. Now here in Portsmouth it's not that easy. He was a bit nervous. I'm just going to check my door. He was a bit nervous that about going into sort of a shared accommodation and things like that. But what annoyed me is he's had this sort of support from other people, but everyone's like, oh, what you doing, how you doing? They don't see the slow progression that goes on with somebody. Like, people expect people to change overnight. They expect to see this, right, you've got to change this, and tomorrow morning actually, you know, this is completely different. Sometimes things are very slow and steady. Sometimes things take a while. When you plant a seed, so if I go and get a sunflower seed and I go and plant that, you don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, there's no sunflower. Oh, there's no sunflower. You've got to get out there and you've got to water that seed and you've got to nourish that soil and you've got to get up in the morning, and even though you can't see the root coming through, you still have to water, and then eventually you'll start seeing a root. But oh my goodness, it's not a massive amazing sunflower, is it? It's still just a root coming through. And then, but you've got to still keep watering it. You can't go, well, you know, I can't really see how this one's growing. It doesn't really seem to, you know, be turning into a sunflower. I wanted a sunflower, mate. Well, go and buy a fucking sunflower that's already been and done and dusted. But when you're growing it from a seed, as you do with a child, you don't always see the fruits for a very, very, very long time. And it's that watering and that nurturing, and it's that building of the self-esteem and the confidence and the person to have the ability. Even last night, you saw her reaction. I get it all the time when I push people off a cliff. They hate me. They love it because they know they needed it, but they hate the person who does it. I'm used to it, and particularly people who are not paying for your services because they don't realise what you're doing. I'm just trying to open it with one hand, darling. And, you know, sometimes people do need that bit of a push, but social services could literally, wouldn't it be better for social workers to go, wow, you know, my 17-year-old, she's a belting singer, she's going to put Portsmouth on fire, we're getting her into the dancing, we're getting her into the clubs. 2 seconds, I'm trying to make my son a sandwich. Shiloh, just let me do this, please. Yeah, I know, I'm just literally doing it, I need 2 hands. You know, wouldn't it be better to have that relationship with her, and sort of like when she's having her CP meetings, to be going, right, you know, let's get her an agent, because they should be acting like parents. They should, good quality parents I'm talking about. They should be going, right, you know, we need to look at funding to make sure she's got a vocal coach trainer, that she's going down to, you know, applying at college or university for performing arts. You know, they don't even know this about her. The girl has been in the care system here in Portsmouth since she was 4 years old, and they don't even know she sings. And I'm not saying she sings, I'm saying she sings, mama. You know, even after I did the live, you should have heard her just making up things. And she was telling her whole story through thing, and we were having a laugh and a joke that, if she goes into her next meeting, that she just wants to walk in and go, "Good morning," and belt it out, and and things that she could say, because once she started singing it, she was able to say things that she hadn't quite normally said, that sometimes our voice shakes, but when she was doing it in the power of song last night, it was like listening to, what's that girl that tried to make me go to rehab, girl, and she was belting it out like her last night, and it was absolutely amazing. I have to watch it. At the end of the day, it's my personal space. I've got kids. I want to live in a retreat, so I'll tell you what, I've just shared the idea with someone. I've already written it in an email, so if anyone fucks me over and goes and runs with this without coming back to the source of this idea, then you're a bunch of fucking cunts. Because this is something that I really would love to get involved in. And I've met so many people on the streets now, particularly ex-foster care kids, that have talents like nobody's business. They can sing, they can dance, they play the harmonica. Even my mate, I say my mate, do I class people as friends? Brothers and sisters from another mother, do you know what I mean? But, Alan, Alan's been out on the streets for years. Put a harmonica in that man's mouth, and that man can play the harmonica like nothing I've ever seen. And it's exactly the same with Josie. If and I'd love to be the person that grabs hold of her right now and does this, but I want to put together an album that was created by everybody who lives on the streets. I don't care if they've got alcohol issues. I don't care if they've got drug issues. The only thing that ever bothers me is if you're fiddling with kids. I have had many, many, many conversations with Jamie now, and what previous relationships he's had and all of this stuff. He's just met a woman with an old soul. He isn't looking at girls. He isn't grooming her. He isn't dragging this girl out onto the streets and pimping her out and, feeding her with drugs and stuff like that. In fact, what you actually see by this relationship that they've come together is they're actually healing each other. They're healing each other in quite a beautiful way, and it's quite lovely to actually see. So even I have to sort of sit back and go, okay, mate, I don't necessarily agree with it, especially when you've got kids not far off of, your girlfriend's age. I'm not here to judge. As I've always said, I'm not here to judge. If I felt that he was dragging her out on the streets and prostituting her and grooming her, that would be different. I'd be walking into social and going, look, I've had a conversation with them now. Because what you've got to remember is people open up to me more than they open up to a social worker, because I'm not walking around writing reports on them. So, it's a bit of a hard one, but it's like, the fact is, they're a couple. He's allowed to stay at the hostel 3 nights a week, but they won't see them as a couple and put them together as a joint claim and a joint application and support them through benefits. Jamie is a guitar player. You heard him last night. He only actually managed to get a guitar a couple of weeks ago. So he's only just literally started sort of playing the guitar again since being a kid in sort of churchy groups in the last few weeks. But between the two of them, you could easily put the two of them together and get them playing. But this is what annoys me about social services. If they spent the time to actually get to know the children that they are meant to be parenting, meant to be supporting, if they actually got to know their talents and their gifts and the things that they do, they would have much more success rate. If it's a case of a lot of parents struggle with their kids, and it's not that they struggle with their kids, it's that they, one, don't have the affordability. Like, say you've got a kid that wants to go to gymnastics. It's not always easy if you're not a car driver, getting your kids down to these classes. I've always said that child benefit should not be paid in cash to parents. I believe that child benefit should be paid in sports and society vouchers to make sure that every child in the UK has at least 2 to 5 hobbies. A person that is rounded, who knows who they are and knows what they're advancing in and what they're building in, brings a healthy society. People who are passionate and waking up doing what they love, be it that they might be their worst critics, be it that they might actually, sometimes look at their work and hate it when everybody else loves it. That comes with being an artistic, and it doesn't really matter. It's the same as the education system. The education system is not going to grab hold of my son Shiloh and let him balance on the back of chairs to practice his little moves, and he's not going to, be grooming my son. They're more likely to groom them for paedophile circles. Not going to be grooming my son to be the skateboarder that he could be, to be the extremist that he could be. In fact, what they're going to do is then go, oh, he's got ADHD, mate. He's too active. He's too this. He's too that. I said something earlier on to someone, and I said, do you know what the system reminds me of? I said, it reminds me of sending a child into an exam without a pen or a pencil because health and safety doesn't allow them to have a pointed tool, and therefore they're then being asked to sit in an exam and pass this exam without the correct tools, and they're being set up to fail. And it annoys the heck out of me because I see all these people around here now with all of these interests and talents, and actually the majority of them don't even know who they are. If I actually sat down with them and said, what do you what are you passionate about, what do you love doing, the majority of them wouldn't know. This girl loves horses, loves riding, loves horses, had an opportunity once to ride, but nobody's ever done it to her again. And it annoys me because, like, even yesterday, now she was late last night. I don't know what the consequences are going to be, but she cannot spend any time with anybody who's not approved and checked. They're already trying to convince her that Kelly Cottam's mad crazy, but she should be able to say to them, look, I met this coach and she's recognised that I've got this belting voice, and she actually wants to give me an opportunity to come into a studio and record, and we've got the facilities to do so around here for someone like her. It's just that you have to open a child up. What you've got to remember is a child who's, especially if they have been abused at home, or not even abused but neglected because they've had to grow up with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. Like she said to me the other day, my mum chooses drugs and men over us all the time. We are talking about, heroin and crack and an alcoholic father and stuff like that. And like she was saying, she was put backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. So a child like that is going to close up. A child like that isn't going to share who they are so much. I mean, when we were down at the bench at Hot Coals, so you would have seen where I met them. So basically, I go down there, it's where the kids go jumping, but it's also where a lot of the homeless sit. And I'm not the sort of person that goes, oh, the homeless are down here, let's call the police and get them removed, because they's vermin, darling, vermin. They're not vermin, are they, darling? No, yeah? They're not vermin. The majority of people on the streets are people who were kicked out of foster care at 18 with they weren't given any form of education structures, they were probably medicated, or they've run away from foster care, or it comes from the other side, that actually they come from well-to-do families and they've been forced into being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a solicitor, all these sorts of things, and blah, 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 blah. My solicitor's not happy with me, by the way. He actually sent me a letter today to say, yes, come on, we haven't progressed as much as we should have done this year, and I need to get my shit together because I'm suing them. It's just that I'm divering because ultimately I'm going to put 2 people in prison, and I don't really want to do that. At the end of the day, the policeman assaulted a pregnant mother. I told him I had EDS, he ignored it, and putting somebody like me into a white padded room and told that I have to pee in front of 2 men wasn't exactly the nicest thing to go through, with the threats of sticking a needle in my ass while I was pregnant. So yes, I am actually going full blames on them, but I would rather put my efforts and stuff into Aaron and Faith, because Elijah and Shiloh are home with me, but the reality is I can't put them into nursery until this paperwork's sorted. So I don't know, I just feel that the system should be enabling and empowering. People should never feel trapped around the people who are meant to be cradling and supporting them. No child should be feeling trapped by their own parents. Yeah, okay, they might want to go out, but if they wanted to go out and smash windows, of course a parent is going to stop them. But it's up to that parent to understand why they're so angry that they want to smash windows. Hello, is it all waking up time now? Yeah, my little skateboarder. What are you doing? Anyway, I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say. Shiloh's awake now, so it's back to my boy's time and having to straighten this up place from Liam. But, you know, I'm glad my son Liam now is back on track. They took his life away from him, but he's now back on track. It's not ideal, he's still in the developmental stages, you know, but he is actually working at a very, very top of the range hair salon here, which is the top end spectrum. So, you know, in the next 2 years' time, he is going to be in a situation to be putting a deposit down on a normal standard of living. It's a very expensive here, so you do have to have money here, or you're in absolute poverty. But he's back on track. You know, ultimately, yes, he could get fired and he has to start again and everything like that. But all social did,
Stick off!
and whether it be deliberate or not, he's fine with that at the moment, darling.
Mummy!
You want me to take it from him? Okay, can I have this, darling? Because Elijah will feel a little bit threatened and intimidated by that. What about this one? Can you touch this one for me? Elijah, Shiloh's just found one of my speaker poles for my speaker. So Elijah feels a little bit threatened with him walking around with a pole that he can hit him with. Yes, he does. Come here. What's this? What's this? So anyway, Mummy's going to have to shoot off, working Mummy and all of that. But please, stop telling our children what do you want to be when they grow up. Let them be who they are now. And that's the same to social care. If you're responsible for someone's child, then you are responsible for nurturing their true gifts and talents. And if I find out that when she goes back that they actually hinder this singing, then I think I'm going to prove the point, like really prove the point. I videoed her. Now I'm going to write to social about this and what I feel is best for her. And if they actually just trap her into a hostel and don't give her these opportunities, then I think point's proven that this country does not want free thinkers, people who are talented. They don't mind if you go on X Factor and you're a performing monkey for people, but they don't actually want people thriving, living to their full potential. They like the fact that we're struggling. They like it. It creates more money through drugs.